They call themselves First Amendment auditors and citizen journalists. They're on social media and known for getting in people's faces. Well, now the state is instructing its 50,000 employees on how to respond to these types of verbal attacks.
I got so much I want to say about the First Amendment. I still don't understand it, but it is bonkers. So what is our human right as an individual and as a family? You're saying that if the moment we step foot out of our house, that it's open season and free game.
The people behind the cameras call them First Amendment audits. Well, these confrontations have the potential to get out of hand.
Welcome back to Legal Dissent, where we evaluate your constitutional rights before they're taken away. Thank you so much for joining us, and as always, if you enjoy our content, please do consider subscribing to the channel, liking this video, and interacting with us in the comments below. Those of you who have been watching our channel for a while now will realize that there are people who claim to be First Amendment auditors that I don't necessarily agree with. Their methods, their lack of professionalism, and their demeanor can sometimes detract from the point that they are trying to make. There are some occasions and some situations that mandate emotional responses, but most of the time it fails to help your cause. That being said, I am extremely supportive of any individual or group of people who are promoting government transparency and accountability, which is why I cover so many First Amendment audit videos. Many of them point out the corruption, lack of professionalism, and rampant disrespect for the people's rights. Allowing the people to watch in real time as police are exercising their duties is an important part of the government accountability that this country needs. In a world desperate for authenticity, you have a mainstream media industry that is on its last legs, attempting to clutch on to any relevance they still maintain by discrediting potential competitors. You have celebrities like Prince Harry, who did absolutely nothing to earn his reputation other than winning the genetic lottery, claiming that the First Amendment is bonkers. George III made a similar claim about American freedoms, and that didn't work out so well for him. A subscriber sent a clip from WXYZ-TV in Detroit, who was presenting a story about a statewide directive to government employees on how to, quote, handle so-called First Amendment auditors, end quote, just this past week.
They call themselves First Amendment auditors and citizen journalists. They're on social media and known for getting in people's faces. Well, now the state is instructing its 50,000 employees on how to respond to these types of verbal attacks. But we also wanted to hear from the people responsible for these so-called fraudits. So tonight, a popular social media star is opening up to 7 Action News reporter Jim Kirchner about what's at stake.
I want to take this opportunity to point out it is almost never a good idea to give an interview unless you know that it is a friendly or at least an objective source that will edit and cut the clips in a fair manner. Freedom News Now went on camera with the news station to be interviewed, and from my perspective, it did not go well at all.
Are they asking legitimate questions?
Oftentimes they are legitimate questions, and I'm okay with questions from officers, and my auditing style has changed throughout the years.
There's absolutely no doubt that he was attempting to provoke the officers.
Stop, man, please don't.
Oh, they're grabbing me. They're grabbing me. Am I being detained?
The police commissioner says the plan can be to get even more.
File a lawsuit. They're going to get a settlement from a city. They're possibly going to get the officer terminated.
If an officer is terminated because of their conduct in a video that occurred during a First Amendment audit, the officer only has himself to blame, because that requires the officer to have done something so significant that it rose to the level of termination. We have seen it time and time again that officers act without professionalism and it gets swept under the rug with zero accountability.
The trend prompted this email to go out to 50,000 state employees telling them how to uphold the general rights of the public while remaining vigilant for suspicious behavior. The email continues. The encounters often include behavior that's designed to provoke a reaction that could be viewed as a violation of First Amendment rights. Do you believe that some behavior is deliberately provocative?
Next question.
If Freedom News Now ever sues any governmental entity in the future, you can rest assured that this clip will be played on a repeat loop in front of the jury.
The email continues. The most important thing to do is to remain calm and pleasant.
Hey, do you want to tell me your name? Because I'll be happy to help you out.
In another video outside a prison in Adrian, McDermott is shooting video with 2 cameras when he's approached first by prison officials and says this.
They abuse their inmates every day. Most of them abuse their wives.
You don't know that when you're out there.
Yeah, they don't know any of that about myself either.
Again, I have never been a fan of accusing anyone of anything you have no evidence of them doing. Making blanket accusations and claims like, these people abuse their wives, etc., is tiptoeing very close to the elements of slander, and I would advise against making these types of claims.
A couple of weeks ago, another team of 3 First Amendment auditors were confronted by the Saginaw County Undersheriff. He says he wanted to get video of their faces. This was their second visit to that department. Their first visit was in the lobby a few days earlier, shooting videos through windows. The undersheriff says several young women employees are inside.
Extremely uncomfortable because they want to know, why is this guy recording me and what are they going to do with the recordings of me?
After this incident, the men filed a complaint with Michigan State Police. The undersheriff says that made a record of who they are.
Yeah, I'm good with that. Go ahead, do your investigation. I went out there so that if something were to happen to one of my employees, I can say these 3 gentlemen were here.
This is reprehensible behavior. First, younger female government employees are not entitled to any more rights than any other demographic of individuals in this country. If you are in the public arena, you have no reasonable expectation of privacy, no matter if you're the Prince of England or a younger female government employee. The other revolting admission by Undersheriff Gomez is that he is okay with them filing complaints, not because it gives him an opportunity to investigate the complaints or ensure that the rights were upheld, but so he has a record of their names and information so he can use it against the auditors later on. This is blatant retaliation. This is doubly concerning because you have another instance where the media is assuming that there is no violation of rights because an auditor did not file a complaint. But how can you expect or blame an auditor for not filing a complaint when the authorities then use that information collected against you? Take a look at this clip here.
At the conclusion of the video, police and MacDill authorities determined he had not violated the law. Now the question is, was he illegally detained or not?
Was he or wasn't he?
Good question. I think if he was, he would have filed a complaint with TPD, but he hasn't.
Well, with all that we've seen through the years, I mean, you would think it would be only natural or at least understandable to question somebody who's standing outside Central Command with a camera.
Why is a camera so threatening? Are we questioning the Google vehicles that capture everything to generate the maps we find online? Are we suspicious of the thousands of security cameras that record your image on a daily basis? Why is it only concerning when the people decide to use the resources available to them? And why is it concerning to the media when people like you and me go out there and use the resources that are available to us to spread the word about government accountability and transparency?
I told the undersheriff about my questions and lack of answers from Justin McDermott.
They believe it only works one way. If they're truly the media, then aren't they subject to the same rules as what apply to you?
McDermott tells me he posts his videos for comments and discussion. He sells merchandise. He seeks subscribers. He wants to grow his online audience. It is all his First Amendment right. In Warren, Jim Kurtzner, 7 Action News.
This is extremely hypocritical of the news media. They are inferring that because auditors seek to profit financially from their efforts, that they are frauds. However, all of the news networks fight over commercial time, ad rates, and sponsorships to pay them for their labor. Why is it wrong for a YouTuber to make money, but it's perfectly fine for WXYZ-TV in Detroit to charge companies for access to their audience? It takes money to be a First Amendment auditor or any type of YouTuber, to be honest. It takes equipment to edit and upload videos, and most importantly, it takes time to put these together. In the end, it's obvious that some members of the media want to continue their grasp upon the hearts and minds of the American people by discrediting anyone that might threaten their stranglehold on news consumption in our society. And they're willing to trade in your First Amendment rights in exchange for their perceived elite status in the eyes of the government. What do you think? Was the media fair to First Amendment auditors? Were they making the story objectively, or did they have an agenda? Do you think Freedom News Now should have conducted that interview? Let us know in the comments below. And remember that no matter who you are, you have value and you have rights. Do not be afraid to use them, and we'll see you next time right here on Legal Dissent.